Hi, I'm Crystal, and I'm with Laura here today, and we did the Confident Conversations workshop. I'm a behavior analyst and work mostly with people working on their social skills.
And as Crystal said, my name's Laura Drummond, and I'm an actor, facilitator, educator in the drama world. And I was co-hosting with her in this class, which was so much fun.
It was really a great time. It was, 8 weeks that we all got together and worked on our conversation skills. We sort of had a theme for each of the weeks to kind of build up how we have a conversation. And we got a lot of extra practice with the skills that we were talking about, not just like talking about them, but actually trying them out and doing them. In the first week, we thought about just what does a conversation look like. We watched some video clips. Laura led us in some games to think about, our different feelings in conversation and how awkward they can be a lot of the time.
The activities that I chose were really about making the group feel comfortable in front of each other, because that's something that we have to learn to do when we meet new people. We have to be comfortable just speaking with them, but also in this environment as a class, we wanted people to feel comfortable learning in front of each other and taking chances. So we did some icebreakers and some fun ways to get to know each other a little bit.
Yes, 100%. And it was great because everyone was really comfortable, which meant that in the following weeks, everyone was great at participating, adding in their ideas, and really growing their skills. So it was great to break down those walls, that comfort zone at the beginning. The next week, we thought about our body language in conversation. So thinking about what messages we're sending with our facial expressions, our eye contact, our body posture, when we're hanging out and chatting with people. And again, Laura supported us on this by really helping us sort of think about what our bodies are doing.
I use some examples of things that we do as actors on an everyday kind of practice, which is using things like the neutral position and practicing what our body does when we feel comfortable, when we feel uncomfortable, and being detectives of our own bodies. So observing what we do out of habit, and having a sense of who we are in the space when we're speaking to other people. So those were some of the themes that we use the activities to do.
Definitely. And I think thinking about that body language piece first was really helpful for the group because it's sort of the foundation. Like, can I get my body just like close enough and confident enough to another person to have a conversation? The next week, we thought about sort of our emotions and our facial expressions with that, and how we really send a clear message, and also how we think about others, which is really listening.
Yeah.
And listening is a very important part of conversation. We don't want to be talking at people when we're hanging out. We really want to be talking with them. And again, Laura led us some great activities for the emotions piece and the listening piece.
Yeah, we had some really fun kind of silly games, which were exaggerating your expression in different emotions and things like that. Because sometimes we're not aware of what our face does, or we might have a more neutral looking face that we don't express very much. So having to exaggerate it a lot, it's just kind of silly and fun, but it really teaches you to notice your face and in a fun way. And we also did a kind of game where we got to play with each other, doing some exaggerated body and face movements in a rock, paper, scissors kind of way, which was great. And as to Crystal's comment about listening, we played a one-word story game, which was the idea of when you create a story together as a group, you have to listen to what the other person has put into the story and then add your own piece. So you have to be really listening to what's coming beforehand. And that just practices that connection between what we do and what we hear.
And for that one, we also had to be really flexible with accepting the other people's ideas. So we might be thinking that the conversation or the story is going in one direction, but
Yeah.
for a turn, we kind of have to go along with what's happening. And that often happens in conversation. So it was great. I think that was a very silly week too.
Yeah.
It was a really good time. The next week we worked on social memory. So that's the idea of like being able to actually remember things about the people we hang out and chat with, because that really helps us build relationships, and it can also help us drive conversations. And again, we worked on, oh, I think that was the week we did introductions. Is that right, Laura?
Correct, we did. And we also did some emotional word play, and we played a gift game of an idea being basically how we respond when somebody gave us a present, whether we like it or not, in a sort of imagination situation, which was just kind of a fun way to do it. And then practicing actually introducing ourselves in a way that comes off as confident and clear. And so using that body piece, using our voices, using our eye contact to say, hi, this is who I am, and giving each other a little bit of gentle feedback around that.
And then we also worked on thinking about the speed of conversation, because conversations tend to go quite quickly, and we don't even notice it, how fast we sort of exchange back and forth. And so for some people, being able to think on your feet like that and being able to like hear something, process it quickly, and get something back out can be quite difficult. And Laura was able to really build some great skills around that, even with some silly activities.
Yeah, we had one of the games we used was a ping pong game, basically being just going back and forth with words in a quick fashion. So you have to just think and respond, and that kind of tones those muscles for a conversation, of being able to think a little bit more on your feet and just be relaxed in that moment. So that little combination was fun. And also we did a fun telephone game, which was using our imaginations and just having to think on our feet. And it's just, again, training those muscles so that you're used to thinking that way when you're talking to people.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I want to say that even some of those games, even though my conversation skills are quite proficient, some of those games were very, really stretched my brain as well. So it was great to be able to build off of each other like that. And then in week 6, we practiced more of our conversations and actually putting all these pieces together, and also wondering about others and thinking about now topics. So our now topics are the things that are kind of going on around us that we often start conversations with or make small talk about. And that really helps us when people are thinking about those now topics, it gives them kind of something to initiate about. And again, Laura led us through some activities to help support that.
Yeah, we did some warm-up games and some get-to-know-you ones that were favorites from the group. We always try to integrate things that people really enjoy or would like to do again. And we added something called the yes and, which is, as to Crystal's conversation, is the idea of engaging in a conversation, and no matter what somebody says, you're going to have that positive sort of response and then continue on. So it's a little game that facilitates that yes and thinking.
Mm-hmm. And we spent kind of the last 2 weeks really just practicing all of these conversation skills and trying to take them maybe out of the game format or out of the activity format and actually say like, okay, so someone has said something to me in conversation, can I respond to them? So we've sort of practiced that speed thing with maybe being silly a little bit, but like, can I actually put it into a conversation where I have to think about what the person has said and give something back? And Laura led us in a great activity for that.
Well, as Crystal said, we did some great work around just imagining different scenarios and locations. So people had to think about their environment, what would be around them, what might be a clue that would start a conversation. So those kind of imagination scenarios were really helpful for that. And we added in this idea of the yes, let's, because it was another popular game that we'd used before, the idea of like, no matter what somebody gives, you just jump in and say, okay, and go forward with it. So it was an exciting kind of silly game, but it trains you to be positive and respond instead of stopping someone else's idea or where a conversation is going. So we played a little bit more with that stuff as well.
Yeah, and then we kind of ended things off with having everyone give positive feedback to everyone else on the things they enjoyed from what people were giving in the workshop for the whole 8 weeks. And that was really great to see. Everyone was very thoughtful and had thought about all the other people in the group, which is like also a great skill in trying to build relationships and conversations with people.
Absolutely. I know you had talked about social memory and remembering different comments that people have made or what they like or don't like that we've learned over the course of the 8 weeks. And so it was really nice to see examples of students actually remembering things that other students liked or what they had done that they appreciated. And retaining that information, that social memory in their comments, which was really good. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I am really excited to do it again.
Yeah, I think so too. And with each group, you get different needs and different favorite activities. So we can sort of adjust, and I'm excited to see what a next group might bring and want to participate in. So that will be great.
Wow.
All right. Thanks so much.